In the previous class, we have discussed about how to convert the given postfix expression into binary tree. Suppose if you are given a infix expression and if you are asked to construct the binary expression tree, it is not possible directly to build a binary expression tree by using the infix notation. First, what you have to do means that take the given infix expression and convert that one into the postfix form or the prefix form. By using this postfix or prefix form, then we can able to build a binary expression, the tree. Okay. So this is an example which we are given. You already learned about conversion of infix expression into the postfix form or the prefix form in the linked list class. So this is the given infix expression. So you can make use of the algorithm to convert this infix expression to the postfix form, so that whenever this algorithm is executed, so the finally you will get a postfix expression of this kind. So 3, 5 plus 2 star 7 plus is nothing but the postfix form of the infix expression 3 plus 5 into 2 plus 7. Okay. Then in the previous class we have learned how to build binary expression tree by using the postfix form. So then make use of that algorithm to build the binary expression tree. So this is how. If you have an infix expression, convert that one to either to the postfix form or the prefix form, then you build a binary expression tree. I have discussed only to construct the binary expression tree. Suppose if the expression is in the postfix form, then you have to learn. It is given as an exercise to you. You have to construct a binary expression tree. Suppose if the expression is given in the prefix form, you take this one as an exercise and learn these algorithmic steps for building the binary expression tree for this. Next is we have discussed about the traversal method for the binary trees, different types of traversal methods. Okay. Suppose if you are given a traversal binary tree, if the binary tree consisting of the different elements in that, the question is, can you able to construct the binary tree from which a given traversal sequence came? I mean that suppose if you are given a traversal output, either it can be a in order traversal, or it may be post order traversal, or it can be pre-order traversal, or it can be level order traversal. Okay. Suppose if you are given a sequence which is the output of any one of these methods, can you able to build a construct a unique binary tree? We are talking about the unique binary tree. So can you able to do that one? So when a traversal sequence has more than one element, the binary tree is not uniquely defined. You cannot able to build. If you are given only one in order sequence or the post order or pre order level order, it is not at all possible to produce the unique binary tree. Therefore, the tree from which the sequences obtained cannot be reconstructed uniquely. So that if you are given only the one traversal output, but by using only one traversal output, it is not possible to produce the unique binary tree. So if that is the case, how we can able to construct it, and what are the different methods? Say for example, if I have given a pre-order output, okay, this is the pre-order output. Let us assume that if I have given this one, okay, I know that in case of the pre-order output, the first node is always nothing but the root node, so that I can able to build the tree this way. But the question arises here whether B is a left child or the right child. Okay, if I am assume that B is the left child, so that I'll get it. Sometimes B can also be a right child also. Okay, so that the have for the given pre-order output, I have a two possibility. The first possibility is this, where the B is the left child of A, and in the second possibility, the B is nothing but the right child of A. Okay, so that uniquely you cannot able to produce. And similarly for in-order traversal also, in case of in-order traversal, the second node is nothing but the root node. So that where A is nothing but the child of the parent node. That is parent node, that is nothing but B. Here also, I'll get a two different possibilities. Similarly, if I have post order also, if I construct the tree, I'll get a two possibilities. Okay, since for level order also, I can able to get a two different possibilities. Suppose if there are more number of nodes, so that it is you can able to get a more number of binary trees of different kinds, but they are not the unique binary. We cannot able to produce the unique binary tree. Then how to construct the unique binary tree? Can you construct the binary tree given two traversal sequence? But in the previous case, we are talking about the construction of the binary tree using only one traversal output. Suppose if you are given a two traversal output or two traversal sequences, is it possible to produce the binary expression tree uniquely? So it depends upon which two sequences are given. Suppose if you have given a pre-order and post-order, you can able to produce this way. And pre-order and post-order do not uniquely define a binary tree. Even if I have given a pre-order and post-order, you cannot able to produce a binary tree uniquely. And say if you look at this here, okay, so I have the node B, which is the left side of A, and here the B is nothing but the right side of A. So nor do pre-order and level order, or if you are given a post-order and level order also, it is not at all possible to produce the unique binary tree. If you look at this one, if you are given a pre-order and level order output sequence, or post-order and level order, okay, or if you are given a pre-order and post-order, okay. So if you are using these combinations to construct the binary tree, it is not at all possible to produce the unique binary tree. Then how you can able to produce it? Binary tree can be constructed uniquely if the following traversal pairs are given. Which are the pairs supposed to be given for producing the binary expression tree or a binary tree? So these are the possible combinations. In order and pre-order can uniquely produce the binary tree. In order and post order also. So you can able to produce unique binary tree, and in order and as well as the level order. Suppose if the in order is combined with any one of the remaining traversal output, so that it is possible to produce the unique binary tree or unique binary search tree. What is the procedure to build the binary tree from the given in order and pre-order? We are talking about the in order and pre-order traversal. Same thing goes for the post order as well as the level order. Okay. So what exactly happens in case of the in order traversal? In case of in order traversal, sorry, in case of pre-order traversal, first we are going to visit the root. After visiting the root, so next we are going to traverse the left subtree recursively, and finally we are going to traverse the right subtree. Okay, so this is the order of visiting the nodes in the pre-order traversal. That is root followed by left followed by the right. But whereas in case of the in order traversal, we are going to visit the left subtree first. The second, we are going to visit the root, and finally we are going to visit the right subtree. That is nothing but in the third step. Okay, so that left followed by the root node followed by the right node or the right subtree. Okay, so this is what the methods which we are using here. Okay. So the first node in the pre-order, if you look at the pre-order traversal output here, if you look at this one here, order of visiting in the pre-order, the first node is nothing but the root node. Is it right? So that if you take any pre-order traversal sequence, the first node is going to be the root node, so that we can easily locate this root node. Okay. Once you located the root node, okay, from the pre-order traversal, then it is easy for you to find out which are the nodes belongs to the left subtree of that root, and which are the node belongs to the right subtree of that root node by using the in order traversal. So first node in the pre-order is the root. We can easily locate the root node in the in order traversal, and hence we can now obtain the left subtree and as well as the right subtree from the in order traversal. And if you keep proceeding it till the end of the last node, so that unique binary tree can be constructed. Let's see here. This is the in order sequence we have given. Okay, this is the pre-order sequence. So from our discussion, the first node in the pre-order output or the pre-order sequence is nothing but the root node. Okay. So what you have to do is, once the root node is identified, you just go and identify where exactly the root node A is located in the appeared in the in-order traversal. So the root node appears somewhere in this in-order traversal output. Okay. So now there are some nodes which are left to the A and which are left to the A and as well as the right to the A. Okay. If you look at this one, the node R, C, S, which belong to the right subtree of A, and F, D, G, B, L, E. These nodes belong to the left subtree of A. So A is the root of the tree now. Okay. So construct the node with A as an root. Okay. This is done. Now I have a right subtree and as well as the left subtree here. So the left subtree is having RCS, the node RCS, and left subtree is having nodes F, D, G, B, L, E. So that is the first step is over. In the next step, what you are doing is you had to find out the second node. If you look at the second node, that is nothing but the B. In the pre-order traversal output A is done. Okay. The next node is nothing but the B. B is nothing but the root of the parent node of the left subtree of A. Okay. So that now B is located. Okay. So it is nothing but the left child of A. Then after that, you have to locate where exactly the B is located in the inner traversal output. So the B is located somewhere here. Okay, so that it has the node L and E, which belongs to the right subtree of B, and I have a FDG which belongs to the left subtree of B. Okay, so if I constructed the tree, so that I'll get the partial tree like this. Okay, so B. So FDG is going to be the nodes of a left subtree, and LE is going to be the nodes belongs to the right subtree of the B. Okay, this is how I can. Next, what you have to do means you have to find out which is the next node present in the pre-order sequence. The next node present in the pre-order sequence is nothing but the D. Then what you have to do means the D belongs to this. Locate the D in the left subtree of B. Okay, so if you look at this sequence, D is located somewhere in this. Okay, so now the D has only one left node and as well the one right node. Okay, so that the G is going to become the right node and F is going to become the left node here. Create a nodes. Okay, so and add these F and G as an left and right child of the D respectively. So at the end, okay, so that we have completed the left subtree. Next, we left with what? L and D here. Okay, so now go and identify the next word in the pre-order traversal output. That is nothing but E. Okay, where exactly E is located in the in-order sequence? So here. Okay, so here, if you look at this one, A is already considered in the construction of the binary tree. So that became the root node of the binary tree. Okay, now means that in this case we can say that there is no right node for the node E here. Okay, we have only one node which is left to the E node, that is going to become the left child of E. Okay, so now construct a node. Okay, E as an parent node and L as an the left child of the E. Okay, that is done. Now next, what you have to do means you have to consider the next sequence, next letter in the pre-order output. That is nothing but C. Okay, so identify the C in the in-order traversal output. Okay, if you look at this one, I am going to use the red and as well as the black colors in the in-order and pre-order sequence as the iteration moves on. Okay, so it is understood that, okay, so that the letters, the nodes which are in the red, okay, indicate that they already the nodes for those letters are already created and are added in the binary tree. But the nodes with the black color, so they yet to be considered. Okay, now the C belongs to inner tree sequence. This C is C as one left node and as the one right node. Okay, had add R and S as a left node and a right node of the C. Okay, you create a node. Okay, so then R is going to become the left child and S become the right child. Okay, so this is the unique binary tree for this. Okay, so this way I can able to produce the binary tree uniquely if the two sequences are given. What are the possible combinations we supposed to be given to produce the unique binary tree? One is in order, another one is pre-order, and in order and post order, and in order is level order. Okay. So build a binary tree from the in order and pre-order traversals. So this is an example which I have given. So you can able to construct the binary tree for this exercise. Could you able to do it quickly? Just I'll give you 3 minutes time. You just go through it and build a binary tree. You just make use of the pre-order traversal and in-order traversal. Pre-order traversal is used to identify the route. Okay, if you look at this one, so first node in the pre-order traversal is nothing but 1. 1 is nothing but the root node. Where exactly the root node is located? Somewhere here. Okay, so now 6, 3, 7 are going to be belongs to the right subtree of 1, and 8, 4, 10, 9, 11, 2, 5 are going to be the left subtree of 1. Then that is done. Then after that, identify the next node in the pre-order travel. That is nothing but 2. The 2 is located somewhere here. Okay, so that there is only one node to the right of right of 2. Okay, so this is become the right node or right child of the 2. But we have a 5 node which belongs to the left of this 2. Okay, 8, 4, 10, and 9 and 11. So they are going to create an left subtree for 2. Okay. Then after that, go and identify the fourth letters. That is, fourth one. So fourth is located somewhere in the inner traversal. We have only one node, that is nothing but 8. This is 8, we are going to become the left child of this 4. And 10, 9, and 11, they are nothing but the right child of the 4. Okay. Then after that, you go and identify the next number. Somewhere I did a mistake. That is 4. Yeah, you just do construct this way, so you can able to produce 1, you will get 6, 3, 7. Finally, you will get 8, 4, 10, 9, and 11, and finally 2. The next node is nothing but 2. 11, 2, and 5. Okay, the next node is nothing but 2, so that you have a 2 here, and 5 is going to become going to be the right child of 2, and 8, 4, 10, 9, and 11. Okay, are the right child of this. Similarly, 4. Okay, consider this 4, and this 4. This is going to be the left child of this, and this is nothing but 10, 9, and 11, and proceed this way. So finally, can able to produce the unique binary tree. I'll give you the final binary tree for this, and this is going to be the unique binary tree for the given traversal output. Okay, next is in the previous example, we have constructed the binary tree by using the in order and the pre-order. Now we are going to make the in order and as well the post order. Okay, so how exactly you are going to visit the nodes in the post order traversal? What is the order of visiting the nodes in the post order traversal? Anyone? In the post order traversal, we are visiting the nodes in the following sequence: left, right, and as well the followed by the root. Okay, so that you are going to visit the root at the end. Okay, so that when you are going to build a binary tree by using this in order and post order sequence, you can able to make use of so you can able to traverse the post order tree, post order from the right to left. Whereas in case while constructing the binary tree from the in order and pre-order traversal, we have considered the pre-order sequence from left to right. Pre-order sequence, we have considered the sequence from left to right. Whereas in case of post-order traversal, you had to consider the sequence from right to left, because we can able to identify the root node, okay, because easily in the post order traversal, because in case of post order traversal the root will be visited only at the end. Okay, so this is the output of this. Okay, say for example, if you look at this post order traversal, A is nothing but the root. Okay, so that A is going to become the root. Where exactly A is located? Somewhere in the inner traversal. So FJC belongs to right subtree, and I have a these many nodes which belong to the left subtree. So that is nothing but G, D, H, B, E, I. Okay. Then after that, what is the next node? That is nothing but this C. Okay. So that the C is going to become the root node here. Identify the C somewhere. So C is somewhere here. Okay. So that there is no right child for this. This is empty, and where J is nothing but the left child, or two sequences, two more nodes are there. They are nothing but F and J. Okay, so that is done. Then after that, which is the next node? We have F. Okay, identify the F here. F is somewhere here, so that F become the parent node here, and J is going to become the right child. Okay, that is done. Then after that, which is the next node, up to J is also done. Then which is the next node? That is nothing but the B. So B is identify the B. B is somewhere here. Okay, construct the B, and E and I belongs to this right subtree, and G, D, H belongs to the left subtree of this. Okay. Then after that, identify the next node. The B is already considered. Then next node is nothing but E. Okay, E. So E is somewhere here. Okay, so that here in this E. Okay, so there is no node to the left of E. So that left subtree is empty. Okay, only one node to the right of this. So that this is going to become I is going to become the right child of E. That is done. Okay. Next we left with this many. So I is already considered. Next we have a D. Okay. So D is identified here. Okay. So D is nothing but the middle node here. So D is going to become the parent node. Okay. Only one node to the left of D. So that G is going to become the left child, and H is going to become the right child. Okay, so this is the how you can able to build a binary tree uniquely by using this. Okay, so this is the output. You can able to see here. Okay, it is produced the same tree. Okay. And one more examples we have post order and in order. In the same way you can able to construct it. Take it as an example and do it yourself. I'll skip this one. Okay. And some of the facts you're supposed to know. It is not possible to construct unique binary tree if you have given only the in order or only the post order and only the pre-order traversal of a binary tree. Okay. So it is possible to construct a unique binary search tree if you have given only the pre-order or only the post order here. If you just stress on these points here. Here we are talking about only the binary tree. If you have given only the in order, post order or pre-order traversal, it is not at all possible to produce the unique binary tree. But if you look at the binary search tree, binary search tree, if you are given only the pre-order traversal of the BST, it is possible to produce the binary search tree. If you are given only the post-order traversal, it is possible for you to produce the binary search tree. Okay. Can you justify this answer? Any one of you?
Sir, because the in-order traversal of BST is already sorted, so that's why.
I mean that if you are given a pre-order and as well the post-order, so you can able to easily get the in-order traversal.
In-order, just
Yes.
sort it and we'll get.
Yes. So that it is going to meet our requirement. So we have pre-order is given means what I can get the in-order. So that by using the in-order and pre-order, I can able to produce the unique bus tree. So BST I can produce. Similarly, if I have a post-order, I can get the in-order traversal so that I can able to produce the binary search tree. And it is not possible to construct a unique binary search tree given only the in-order. Is it possible to construct the binary search tree if I have given only the in-order? You cannot, because you cannot able to make out the pre-order sequence or the post-order sequence from the in-order sequence. Okay, there is no relationship, right? From the in-order to the post-order or in-order to the pre-order. Okay, traversal for the of the BST. Okay, so you need to remember this. Suppose if we for the BST if we are given any one of the pre-order or post-order sequence, so that it is possible to construct the binary tree. Okay, so the algorithm is remains same here also. Okay, so this is about the end of the binary trees. Okay. If this slide is visible.
Sir, we can see the fact slide.
Oh. This Huffman coding slide is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Just I wanted to know, have you come across the Huffman coding in your any of your subjects? Have you studied Huffman coding? Anyone? Have you studied coding theory, sir?
Sir, I think in ADC we had studied in 5th semester.
You studied, studied or forgot what you are
but
going to
we do not remember.
Huh? Sorry?
Like, I do not remember it.
Do not remember, okay. What are the different types of coding techniques we are using for modern communication? Means to transfer the information from one place to the another place. Whenever you wanted to transmit information from one place to the another place, okay, so that what you are doing is you have to convert your information into the coded form and that needs to be transmitted over the channel. So for that, you can able to find a lot of encoding and decoding techniques, okay, which are used for transmitting the information from one place to the another place through the electronic media. Among those, this Huffman coding is the one of the code. We'll discuss this Huffman coding. Say, for example, if you consider the English language, that this particular English language is made up of so many symbols. I am calling this symbol here. So, symbol in the sense that okay, they are nothing but the set of characters which we are going to use for making the communication. Say, for example, in the English language, we have a alphabets from A to Z. These A to Z are used to make an information. Okay, this information can be transmitted. Suppose if you are going to make use of the digital communication, how exactly such information is represented? Since for modern communications we are going to make use of the computer system, in this computer system our all information is stored in the form of a binary. Okay, whatever may be the information, all the informations are stored in the equivalent binary format. Okay, so in our say for example, I wanted to transmit the huge amount of data from one place to the another place. If you wanted to transfer from the source to the destination, as I already told, there are plenty of encoding techniques are used. This encoding operation is done before transmission of the information at the receiving side. So we are going to apply the decoding technique where we are going to get back the information, the original information. So in order to do these communications, so there are basically we are going to make the two types of ports. One is called as a fixed length port. And second one is called as a variable length port. Okay, so what exactly happens in case of fixed length code? In case of fixed length code, each and every symbol is represented by a unique binary string. Say for example, let us assume that in a given language there are only 16 characters, symbols or characters. Let us assume that I have only 16 characters or symbol in the given language. Okay, so what I want is I wanted to represent these 16 characters or the symbol by using the fixed length code. Okay, suppose if you are going to use the binary format for representing these characters, how many binary bits I require to represent each symbol? How many bits are I require to represent this? Every symbol should have an unique code in this case. So that I have a 16 symbol means 2 power of 4. So that this is 16. I require a 4 binary bits to represent it. Say for example, if the first letter of this 16 symbol is nothing but A, I can able to the code this A as an 000. Similarly, B is nothing but 001 and C is nothing but 0010 and so on like that up to 16. Up to 16 I can able to do this way. Okay, so that in case of a fixed length coding, each and every symbol assigned a fixed length code. Okay, example for fixed length code is nothing but you already come across this ASCII and EBDC ASCII code and as well as the EB extended BCD code. Okay, so ASCII is nothing but 7-bit code. Every symbol in this represented by using this. By using the 7-bit code, and then the second code, so we have a 8-bit 8-bit is used for used to represent the each and every code. Okay, in the same way we have a plenty of these fixed length codes are available. Suppose if you are using a fixed length coding, and how do you calculate the total number of bits which are required to represent the given information in the binary format? Suppose assume that if you are going to use an L-bit fixed length code, L means say in the previous example say I have taken 4. Suppose if you are going to use the 26 letter alphabets, so that how many bit codes are required here to represent all 26 letters? So that is 2 power 4 means I can able to have 16 combination. 2 power 5 means 32. So that I can able to go with the 5-bit code. So L is equal to 5 in this case. Suppose in the previous example what I have given, in that case your L going to become the 4 only. Suppose if L is the bit fixed length code, and suppose if I have given an information, if the information is stored in the file and there are n number of characters, how many number of bits are there in this file? That is n times the L. Okay, that is n into L bits are there. So now what exactly happens here? Say for example, why we are not going to make the fixed length code here? Say for example, in any given languages, whenever you are going to create an information, so all the characters in that particular language will not appear with the same amount of probability. Say for example, if you look at the English language, if you consider the English language, and if you make a frequency analysis in the sense that you can able to find out how many times letter A present in the given information, B, C, D and so on like that. You have to count how many number of times A appears, B appears, C appears. This is how we are going to do the frequency analysis. Say for example, we already the statistics are available for this English language. If you have considered the good number of the characters in the English language, and if you do the frequency analysis, you will come to know that the letter E is going to become the one of the letter which occurs more oftenly compared to the other letters. I mean that the number of times E occurs is more compared to the any other letters. Similarly, if you do the frequency analysis, the least frequency will be given to Z and followed by Q and so on like that. Is it right? Suppose if you are going to make another fixed length code for transmitting these information over the channel, even though the Z occurs, okay, so the fewer number of times, we are going to make the same number of bits to transmit. Suppose if A occurs more number of times, occurs, so the fixed length code is used to transmit the same number of bits for each and every times the E appears in that information. The one of the drawback in this fixed length code is that, okay, even though a particular symbol appears more number of times, so that we are going to transmit the same number of bits several times, okay, so for that particular character, mean that this is going to consume the more memory space, and also your bandwidth requirement for communication is also more. In order to overcome this problem, we are going to make another code that is nothing but the variable length code. What exactly variable length code provides means, in order to save the space, okay, we are going to use the less number of bits for the frequent characters and more bits for the rare characters. Okay. Say for example, let us assume that, okay, in the given language we have 3 alphabets, okay, A, B, C. Suppose I have a information in a file, that information, the file contains the 1 lakh characters over there. Suppose if you are using a fixed length coding, okay, I require 2 bits to represent each and every symbols. I require 2 bits. Say A is equal to 00, B is equal to 01, and C is equal to 10, like this. Okay. So because of this fixed length code, I am using the 2 bits for each and every symbols. So irrespective of whether A appears more number of times or B or C, I am going to use the 2 bits for each and every symbol. So that I require, okay, 2 lakhs bits to represent the information which made up of 1 lakh characters over there. Okay. Suppose if you are going to make the frequency distribution of the character like this, say for example, out of 1 lakh characters, let us assume that the character A appears these many times, whereas B appears only 500 times and C appears only 500 times over there. Okay, so that now it is meaningless if I am using a 2-bit code for A. If I use the 2-bit code for A, even though it occurs 95% of the time here, okay, so that it becomes a meaningless, so that I cannot able to achieve the the bandwidth efficiency, and as well as I cannot able to reduce the memory usage over there. Instead of using the fixed code, if I am going for the variable length code, my code can able to become this way. So instead of using a 2-bit code for A, I can able to use only 1 bit for the symbol A, and 2 bit for B, and 2 bit for the C, so that the code of A is of length 1 and the codes of B and as well as the C are of length 2. Okay, so if I calculate the total space usage for this particular example, for a fixed length, I am using a 2 lakh bits over there. If it is a variable length code, so that I require only 1,10,000 bits here to represent the 1 lakh characters over there, so that I can able to save almost 50% of the save. Okay, this is the advantage I can able to get it from the this variable length coding. So then how do you decode it? Let's see here how decoding can be done. Once you encoded it, okay, so that if you do not have a proper decoding method, then it is the waste of communicating the information from one place to the another place, because it cannot able to produce the replica of the information which was transmitted at the source. Okay. Suppose if you are going to make something in the fixed length code, and we know where exactly the character start and where exactly the character ends. In case of fixed length code, each and every character may be represented by making of the L number of bits, so that I can able to count the L number of bits starting from the first bit, so that I can able to make out the information from this. Say for example, if A is equal to 0, 0, B is equal to 0 and C is equal to 1, 0. Okay, so this is the information which I received at the receiver. Okay, how I can able to make out the information from this? So that while starting from the first bit, make a group of 2 bits. Okay, so I'll make 2 bits here, 2 bits. 0, 0 corresponds to what? The symbol A, and next 2, 0 corresponds to A, and the next 2, 0 corresponds to A, and the next 0, 1 corresponds to B, and so on. I can able to the decode uniquely. Okay, your decoding should also be unique. Okay, so that the information which produced by this binary stream is this. Okay, I can able to produce this way. Okay, this happens in case of the fixed length. In case of fixed length, we come to know that where exactly the character start and where exactly the character ends. Okay, now how do we decode the decode in case of the variable length code? Okay, we call it as an prefix. Variable length code is called by another name, that is called as an prefix code. Mean that the variable length code should meet the property of should meet the prefix property. What exactly the prefix property? What prefix property says that no code should be the prefix of the any other code. No code should be the prefix of the any other code. Say for example, if you look at this one, okay, I have a 3 symbols A, B, C here. So A is nothing but 0 and B is 1, 0 and C is nothing but 1, 1. All are unique code only. If I say 0, 0 is not an prefix of any other codes. Any other code means I have a code for the B and C. B is nothing but 1, 0 and C is nothing but 1. Okay, it is not. So then we can say that it is nothing but the prefix code. Say for example, A is suppose A is equal to 0, 0. If you say B is equal to 0, 1 and C is equal to say 1, 0. Okay, this is not an prefix code. Why it is not an prefix code means, suppose if you look at the code for B, okay, so that the code for B start with 0 here. Okay, so the bit start with 0 and the next bit is nothing but 1. This 0 is nothing but the code for the A only. Suppose if I receive the information 0, 1, 1, 1, something like this. If I am trying to decode this one, I cannot able to produce the unique code, unique information at the receiving end. Why means, since I am going to make the variable length code, I am going to extract the information bit by bit. First bit is nothing but 0, so that I look for the symbol with the bit with the code 0 here. If I look at my table, so 0 is assigned to the code A. 0 is assigned to the code A, so that I can interpret this one as an A. But actually, I wanted to they receive this one as an 0, 1 as an B here in this case. Okay, so that this is not going to be the prefix code. Means that in case of prefix code, no code should be the prefix of the another code. Okay, and similarly, if I say A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 1, 0 and C is equal to 1, 1 like this. This is also a not an prefix code. Why means A is equal to 1 in this case. So this 1 is going to be the prefix of a B and as well the prefix of C here. Okay, so that if that is the case, we cannot able to produce the unique the information at the receiving end. So how do we decode? Suppose if it is a prefix code, okay, prefix code means no code should be the prefix of the another code. Okay, say for example, if you look at this one, how do you decode? It means A is equal to 0, B is equal to 1, 0 and C is equal to 1. This is my information which I wanted to transmit. Before transmission, I wanted to encode it. Okay, so that what I can do means I'll receive the first symbol. What is the first symbol? That is nothing but A. What is the code for A? That is 0. I'll put it over there. And next symbol is nothing but A. The code for this is 0. And next code is nothing but A. That is also 0. And B is nothing but 1, 0. B is nothing but 1, 0. And this is for C. And C is 1, 1 and so on like that. So this is my information at the transmitting end. Okay, so that my information is encoded into this binary stream. Okay. Then how do you decode it finally? Then how do you decode this? Okay. So in order to decode this one, what I supposed to do means I supposed to read the first code bit in the received stream. Okay. So that the first code bit is nothing but 0. Then I look for the 0 in my table, the table. This is my table. Okay. The table made up of the symbol and their associated the code. So 0, so that I don't require to look for the any other code, because when I say the first bit is 0 and when it matches with the character A, I don't require to look into the other code, because we are going to follow the prefix property that says that no other code is the prefix of the no code should be the prefix of the another code. Okay, so that's what I'll write this one as an A. I'm going to read A. A matches with what? 0. And A matches with 0 matches with A, so that I'll decode it as an A. And similarly, the third 0 comes, I'll decode that one as an A. And similarly, I am going to retrieve the fourth bit, that is nothing but 1. Okay, there are no symbol with the code bit 1. So that what I supposed to do means I supposed to read the next one more bit. So that now I am going to compare the these two bits with the table which I already created. So that is nothing but A is 0, no, 1 0 matches with B. Okay, so that now this is decoded as an B. And again, I am going to read first bit. I could not able to make a decision, so that I am going to make use of the one more bit, that is 1 0. I look for my table, so that 1 0 corresponds to B. I'll decode this as B. And again, I am going to read 1 and I cannot able to make a decision, so that I'll write one more bit, so that it becomes 1 1. I'll look for this code 1 1 in my table. So 1 1 corresponds to C, so that this is encoded at C. This way I can able to encode 1 by 1. Okay, so this way I can able to produce the unique information. Okay. So this is the one of the most desirable property for this variable encode. What is that? That is the prefix property. Okay. So now, what is an idea to construct the Huffman code? Okay. So let us consider a binary tree. If I construct the binary tree in the following way, so in case of binary, if you are going to construct the binary tree to produce the Huffman coding, we are going to make use of the following convention. So we are going to label the edges. We are going to label the edges. Okay. So by the either 0 or 1. Okay. Always the left edges or left subtree is marked as 0. Okay. The label which is given to the left edge is nothing but 0. For the right edge or the right turn, it is 1. If you look at here, 0, 0 for the left and 1 for the right. By using this, I can able to produce the code for this, unique code for this. Okay. Say I wanted to produce the unique code for these symbols A, B, C, and as well as D. Okay, this is my root node. This is my root node. Starting from the root node, you just traverse to the desired node with the symbol, with the given symbol. Suppose I wanted to produce the code for A. Then what you have to do is you have to start traversing or visit the node A from the root node. From root to A, I have only one edges, that is nothing but 0. So that you label, you decode it as encode it as an 0. Then I have a B here. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to traverse or visit the root node in this path. When you visit the road in this path, okay, you are coming across these edges. That is the edges 1 and as well as 2. Okay, so that the first edge's value is nothing but 1. The second one is nothing but 0. This is the code for B. Similarly, C, you make use of this row path. Okay, 1 1 0. If you look at this one, this becomes 1 1 0. Then similarly for D, so this becomes 1 1 1. Okay, 1 1 1. Okay, if you look at this, no code is the prefix of the any other. Okay, so A is equal to 0. Any code start with the value 0? No. So no symbol as the code start with the 0. And if I have a B is equal to 1 0, any symbol start with 1 0? No. So this way I can able to produce the yeah, prefix code by using the binary tree. Okay, now let us see the algorithm to construct the binary tree to produce the prefix code. Okay, by using the Huffman tree. Okay, so now what exactly you're doing? Compute the frequency of each character in the alphabet. Compute the frequencies of each character means that it may be a weight or it may be a probability of occurrence of the character in the in the given information. Okay, you count how many times a letter A present, letter B present, C present. Okay, based on that you just make a table over there. Okay, that is done. Then build a tree forest with one node trees. Okay, so when you start doing it, start constructing the tree, okay, with the first node, where each node corresponds to a character and contains the frequency of the character in the left subtree encoded. Say for example, you have the symbols P, Q, R, S. Okay, then what you are doing is you just find out the frequency of occurrence of these. Okay, say for example, let us assume that the P occurs 10 times and Q occurs say 25 times, 5 times, and say for example 15 times. This is what. Okay, then after that what you are doing is you have to create a tree for all these. Okay, so create a tree for all this means say this is the node. Okay, P with the value 10 and Q the value 25 and so on. You do the creation for this. This is what second step says. Next, what you do is select two parentless nodes with the lowest frequency. Okay, with the lowest means that once you computed the frequencies, what you are doing is you arrange these in the order of in the increasing order. You arrange these symbols in the increasing orders. Okay, say for example, P occurs 10 times, Q occurs 25 times, R occurs 5 times, and S occurs 15 times. So that if I do sorting method for this, so my sorted output will be look like this: 5 for R occurs 5 times, then P occurs 10 times, and S occurs 15 times, and Q occurs 25 times. This way you have to do it. Okay. Then what the third step says select two parentage node with the lowest frequency. Which are the nodes with the lowest frequency? That is first two nodes. Okay. From using these two, what you do is you create a node, okay, create a parent node with 5 and 10 as an children of that particular parent node. Okay, then label it. Okay, label that parent node. What should be the weight of that label node? It is nothing but the sum of the weight of these two nodes, P and as well the R node. Okay, and you assign that frequency to that parent node. And this same step has to be repeated from steps 3 and 6 has to be repeated till you come across all the nodes. This is what. Let us look into the example so that you will clearly understand what exactly the Huffman tree says. Okay. Let us look at this A, B, C, D, F. Okay, these are the information symbols which I have in my language. So A, B, C, D, F are the symbols in my language. I have only 6 symbols over there. Okay, so that you have some information, so that what I did a frequency analysis. Okay, according to that frequency analysis, I counted how many number of times A occurs, B occurs, C occurs, D occurs, E occurs. According to that, this frequency table is created. So that I came to know that A occurs 10 times, B occurs 20 times, C occurs 30 times, D occurs 40 times, 50 times, and as well as 60 times. Okay, so I would readily have taken here. Okay, suppose if you are given a is equal to, if A occurs 60 times, B occurs 30 times, C occurs 10 times, D occurs 90 times, E occurs say 15 times, and suppose if f occurs 5 times. Okay. If f occurs 5 times. If that is the case, what you have to do is your frequency table should be created in such a that so that all frequencies should be in the increasing order, so that which is the least value have here f, so that f is equal to 5. Then what is the next one? 5 is done. Next so lowest value, that is nothing but c. C is nothing but 10. The next lowest value is nothing but 15. That is E is nothing but 15. Okay. Then next lowest value is nothing but B. That is B is nothing but 30. The next lowest value is nothing but A. That is 60. So that is A is 60. And next value is nothing but the D. That is nothing but 90. So that this is my frequency table. Suppose if the frequency of occurrences given in the example, if is not in the order, you had to sort it in the increasing order. You have to make a table in this way, then only it is very easy for us to construct the Huffman tree. Okay. So this is what. Okay, now let us come back to the previous example here. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 10, C is equal to 30, D 40, E 50, and F is equal to 60. And total file length in this case is nothing but 210. Okay, so that if I count all the symbols here, so that total number of characters in my information is equals to 210. Okay, next. Okay, now let us make use of the algorithm. Okay. Let us make use of the algorithm to construct the Huffman tree. So that now all my symbols are arranged in the frequency of occurrence. So A is 10 times, B is 10, C 10, and D 40, and E 50, and F 50. So all trees are created with all these symbols. A is 10. In the next step, what you have to do is consider the least two symbols. Which are the least two symbols? A and as well as the B here. Okay, A and B. Now what you are doing is you create a parent node for A and B, where the weight of that particular parent node is nothing but the sum of the weight of these two least nodes. Which are the least two nodes? A and as well as the B. Okay. So now if you create it, okay, so that you will get an the parent node, say X in this case, X, whose weight is nothing but, okay, sum of these two weight. That is 30 is nothing but 10 plus the 20. Okay. Okay, done. This is done. Next, what I will do means after building the tree for least two nodes here, then I have a parent node with the value with the weight 30 here. Okay. Now what you have to do means again you have to look into the table here and see that whether these values are in the sorted form or not. They must be in the increasing order. Then only we can able to produce the unique prefix code over there. Okay. The for X node, parent of A and B is nothing but a X node whose value is nothing but 30. C is 30, 40, 50, 60. Yes. So no doubt. Okay, they are in the increasing order. Okay, this is the requirement. Okay. Next, what you have to do is next you consider the next two least node. Which are the next two least node? So first one is nothing but the parent of A and B. That is the X node and C. And you create a one more the node X node, say X, Y will be created. Okay, where the child for this Y will be C, and it is nothing but X. Okay, where X is nothing but 30, where the childs of this X is nothing but A and B. A is 10 and B is nothing but 20. B 20. Okay, this is how it will be created. What is the sum? What is the weightage of this Y now? The weightage of Y is nothing but the sum of these two childs. Sum of these two childs means X and as well the C here. Okay, so 30 plus 30, that is nothing but 60. Okay, so 60 will come here. Okay, so this is what you are getting it. Okay, done. 60 you got it. Now, if you look at this Y here, I have 60, here D is 40 and E is 50 and F is 60. Now it is not in the sorted form, not in the increasing order. To get the increasing order, again what you have to do is you have to sort it. When you sort it, what exactly will happen? 40 and 50 become the first two nodes and 60 will come to this position. Okay, you sort it, then only we can able. If you are not sorting it, okay, you could not able to produce the prefix code. Okay. Okay, so after sorting, I am getting this node. This, okay, so 40, 50 and 60 and 60 have here. Okay, now what you have to do is produce the next node Z, okay, whose weightage is nothing but 40 and 50. Okay, combining these two, these are the two least node. Okay, see here, Z is equal to 90. So D is equal to 40 and D is equal to 50. Okay, now again you compare these values 90, 60 and 60. So again they are not in the sorted form. What do? You do the sorting of this. When you do the sorting of this, you will get this sequence. Okay, 60, 60 and as well as the 90. In the next step, what you do is you have to consider the next two least symbols. The next two least symbols are nothing but Y and as well as the F. So by using this F, you create a parent node and Y is going to become the left child of that parent node and F is going to become the right child of that parent node. So now that is nothing but B you will get it. Sorry, W you will get it. So that W is nothing but 120 in this case. Okay. So you will get an this is nothing but the left subtree. This is nothing but the right subtree. Again, if you look at this one, the 120 and 90, they are not in the sequence. So that what you do, you have to arrange it in the ascending order. Okay, when I do ascending order for these two, I'll get this sequence. Okay, Z will come first and W will come next one day. Okay, now again you create the parent node for this. Okay, and the weight of that is nothing but 90 plus 120. Okay, if you look at this one, so V, it is symbolically I call it as an V. So the total weightage is nothing but 210. So this becomes the Huffman tree here. Okay, so this is the Huffman tree. Now what I can do is I can able to produce the unique prefix code for D, the symbol E, A, B, C and as well as the F. Okay, so now I already told according to our convention. Okay, so that our left edges are denoted by 0 and right edges are denoted by 1. To produce the code for this, okay, you traverse to the desired code from the root node, so that you will get a code for that. Suppose if you wanted to produce the code for A, so you have to visit the node A in this path. Okay, that is nothing but 1 0 0 0. This is the code of A. Okay, similarly code of B is nothing but this 1 0 0 1 1 0 0 1. So code of C is nothing but code for C is nothing but 1 0 1. Okay, so 1 0 1. And similarly code for D is nothing but D is nothing but 0 0. Then code for E is nothing but 0 1. And code for F is nothing but, so that is nothing but 1 1. Okay, so these are the codes that we can able to produce by using the Huffman coding. Okay, so these are the code 1001, 101, 00 and 01 and as well the 11. Okay, if you look at this one here, okay, so that this particular Huffman code encoding is going to produce the prefix code over there. Okay, and also if you look at this one A, If you look at A, what is the frequency of occurrence of A in the message? Only 10 times. What is the frequency occurrence of F in the message? That is nothing but 60. F occurs 60 times. So this symbol F is represented by using only the 2 bits, whereas A is appears only 10 times. So this is represented by using the more number of bits. Okay. The idea in case of Huffman coding is that if the symbol occurs very oftenly, that should be represented by using the least number of bits. The symbol which occurs very rarely, it should be represented by more number of bits, so we can able to reduce the number of bits and also the bandwidth during the transmission. Okay, so if the file size, what is the total file size according to this Huffman encoding? So 10 into 4, because 4 times 10 number of characters, where code length is nothing but 4. Similarly, 20 into 4, that is the B. C is nothing but 30 into 3, 40 into 2 for D, and 50 into 2 for E, and 60 into 2 for F. That is nothing but 510 bits. Okay, so Huffman code, if you are using it, okay, so you can able to represent the same information by using the 510 bits. Okay, suppose if you are going to make the fixed length code for this information, so that if the symbols file contains 210 characters, totally 630 bits. Okay, since here if you compare the 510 and 630, even though looks very small, the difference is very small here. But suppose if you are going to transmit the huge amount of information, and if you are going to employ the Huffman coding, that is the variable length coding, to transmit such a huge information, definitely that is going to reduce the total number of the bits in the bits during the transmission. Okay, so that we can able to have a more efficiency by using the Huffman coding compared to the fixed length code. Another example here, if I given F is equal to E 9, 12, 13, 16 and 45, just construct the Huffman tree for this. Do it fast. Could you able to tell me what is the final output?
So just a minute.
Okay. Anybody completed?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
So for 45, it's 0.
root
Then,
mole.
yes, sir.
What is the
For
root mole?
sir, the tree is 100, then 45. So
100.
should I tell the tree or the code first?
Okay.
I'm
What is
telling the code. A,
A?
like for 45, it should be 0.
Okay.
Then for
B?
25,
Uh,
not 25, sorry. For next is 30, 14, 16. For 16, it is
no.
1,
Just do
1
one thing. You tell me the codes. What is the code for A?
for A, it's 0.
B?
For B, sir, I'm going descending like 16. For D, can you write 1, 1, 1?
1 1 1
Yeah, triple 1 for D.
Okay.
Then for B is
C?
13.
C.
Sir, I told D is 111.
Just see. What is okay? What is A value? 0, no?
Just a
Code for
minute.
A is 0, right?
So just a minute, I made a mistake. Just one
Any
moment.
other? Anyone else? Others should also try.
Yes, sir. Sir, ready. So you
Is
tell me the letters, I'll tell you the final answer.
yeah, A.
A is 45. Okay, so for 45 it's 0. Okay.
Okay, B.
B is 13, right? For 13 it's 1, 0, 1.
Okay, for C.
C is 12, right? So 12 is 1, 0, 0.
For D.
D is 16, right? So 1, 1, 1. Yes.
3 ones.
Yeah, 3 ones.
Okay, for E.
E is 9. 9 is 1, 1, 0, 1.
F.
F is 5. So 1, 1, 0, 0. So yeah, it matches the frequency as well. Like the most frequent is being allotted the least number of bits.
Okay. So let's see the what is the tree for this. I'll show you the final tree. So A is 0. Your B is nothing but 101, and your C is nothing but 100, and your D is nothing but 111, and your E is nothing but 1101, and F is nothing but 1100. It's fine. If you look
Yes,
at
sir.
A is 0, B is 101, C is 100, and D is 111, and E is 1101, and F is 1100. Okay. If you look at these code, they are the prefix codes. They are the prefix code in the sense that the no code is a prefix of the another. Okay, that is what we require. Suppose if the codes does not satisfy this prefix property, it is not at all possible to produce a unique information at the receiving end. That is what. So you won't get the original information. Okay, so see, if you're 0, no other code start with 0. No other code start with 101. No other code start with 100. No other code start with 111. Okay, so that now you need not worry about okay, what is the length of each and every symbols. The code length you don't require to bother. Okay, so that what you do is you read the information bit by bit. After reading a bit, you just look for that particular bit in the table. Okay, if none of the symbol doesn't matches with that, okay, go and read the one more symbol. You just combine first symbol and second symbol, first bit and second bit. Again, you search for that particular code in that table. Okay, suppose if the comparison is successful, if the code matches, then output that particular symbol. Okay, this is how we can able to produce it. Okay, so this is about the Huffman coding. Okay, and two more types of trees, binary trees are binary search trees are left out. They are nothing but the heap and as well as the balanced tree. In the next class, I am going to complete those two in the Tuesday's class. Okay, today I am going to wind up at this point. Just a minute.